Both on!
Woo!
How about that one?
That's our new leaders right there.
Big Silly!
University of Montevallo, 24-96.
The University of Montevallo wins its third straight title.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Rapala We Are Collegiate Bass Podcast. Big week on deck coming up for the Association of Collegiate Anglers and the Bass Pro Shops Collegiate Bass Fishing Series. The final event for the 23-24 season to count towards the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia for the ACA is the Collegiate Bass Fishing Championship presented by Bass Pro Shops, set to take place Thursday and Friday at Pickwick Lake and Wilson Lakes in Florence, Alabama. Today, being joined by representatives from the top 25 ranked Blue Mountain Christian University fishing team, John Mark Berry, TJ Edwards, and Lake Norsworthy. John Mark, we'll start with you real quick, man. Just the anticipation, everything that's built up around this event, longest running national championship collegiate bass fishing tournament out there. This is the 19th edition, everything that comes with it we'll talk about in just a little bit. But what are your emotions, your feelings, being able to compete in a tournament of this prestige?
It's definitely an honor getting to be able to fish this tournament and kind of end the fishing year on this. We're definitely excited having the tournament in our backyard at our home lake, Pickwick. You know, we're all looking forward to it. We're all hoping we can get all of our teams, you know, in the top 5 or 10 or whatnot, whatever it be. But we're definitely excited and we're definitely ready to go out there and catch them.
Yeah, a lot of build up around this week, something that we're working towards for the entire year as throughout the season. Anglers are able to earn automatic qualifications into the tournament. Schools are qualifying 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams to be able to send. Full field has been registered for the tournament. Close to 400 anglers going to compete there at Pickwick Lake. TJ, yourself, if I remember correctly, you maybe earned one of those automatic qualification spots to be able to get into this tournament. Talk about the significance, the kind of same question as I asked John Mark, being able to be out there, compete on a stage like this in an event as big as this. What's that mean to you?
Yeah, like what John Mark said, it's just an honor to be able to go fish it. And also, like he was saying, it's on our own pond, on a place I've fished for most of my life, and it just means the world to go out there and fish for a national championship.
Lake, we'll talk to you now about what these two gentlemen have said so far. Not too far from school is Pickwick Lake. Blue Mountain Christian, located in northern Mississippi, where we're having the event here. Pickwick Lake is in Florence, Alabama, not too far from your door to the boat ramp. Being able to compete on a fishery that you guys are familiar with, have a lot of history on, and also just not too far from the house adds a little bit of peace of mind and comfort, and you're not too far out, a fish out of water going somewhere you're not used to. Talk about being able to have this close to home and being able to compete for a title as big as a national championship on a fishery that you're familiar with.
Oh, it's very special, especially since we've all been really familiar with that lake over the past few years, and we all kind of feel like we're at home when we're out there, so it kind of settles us down and we're able to figure something out.
Let's get into talking about the fishing a little bit. Temperatures, not crazy hot. Don't know what that'll mean in regards to the water temperature, where the fish are positioned, and possibly how much current's being generated or lack thereof once we get there. But John Mark, let's talk a little bit about how the lake's going to set up. Pretty textbook, Wilson and Pickwick Lakes. There on Pickwick, most likely these fish are making their move out deep. Every year it sort of depends on how many of them have made it all the way out versus some of these anglers like yourselves who maybe know of some more in-between areas for these fish that are kind of in the middle of the transition out deep. Let's talk a little bit about that deeper bite and how these fish will set up and what to key on while you're out there on those ledges looking for them. Just kind of give an all-around take here at the end of May. What's Pickwick Lake looking like for fishing?
Well, the end of May is one of my most favorite times of the year to fish. They get out there, they get offshore. They're the fresh ones, the first ones to get out there. They're the easier ones to catch. They're fun to catch when they're fresh and first out there. But here lately we've had a lot of rain, and there's going to be a lot of current, and I don't know if it's going to be too much current to push them off the ledges. You know, there may be a shallow bite happening too. The temperatures haven't been really hot, so there's a lot of factors playing into that. You know, if the current gets too high, it's going to push them off the river. So You're going to have people that's going to be able to catch them shallow in this field. You're going to have people that's going to be able to catch them in between on moving out stuff. And you're going to have people catch them out deep. I mean, you're going to have all three things playing a factor on both lakes. And it's the Tennessee River. Your ledge bite's a staple. And I still think the ledge bite, is going to do pretty good, especially if the current slows down a little bit.
TJ, real quick, it's something that we ask each year. Well, I've got two questions. One I'll send to you and the other I'll send to Lake. But we're going to ask one question about the shallow bite and another question we'll ask about if Wilson plays at all. But TJ, tell me real quick, in regards to a shallow bite, obviously there are sections of the lake that have some resident fish. We see it each year. There's teams that go up shallow and they'll catch them on day one, but man, they wiped out their area and there's nothing left for day two and they fall down the leaderboard. It happened just a couple years ago. I believe a team from Kentucky, Christian, saw them do well early on. As I was editing the show, we go out with them on day two and it just doesn't quite come together like it did on that first day. But talk a little bit about the shallow bite, what's up there, and is it something that's sustainable for 2 days?
Yeah, the shallow bite can be a little tricky sometimes. Basically, since we are getting a lot of rain, that current will help that and keep them fish locked up on the bank. And also, some other good things to look out for up shallow would be the grass fishing, which is always really good around this time of year. And usually you can find a shad spawn around the grass, which is really key. And some other things would be just slightly offshore spots, but are shallow. That kind of that middle stage for fish they're setting up on right before they go out deep, I think will be really key.
Lake, next question's for you. We'll talk about Wilson real quick. Anglers will be able to lock through to go up there to compete if they so choose. In years past, we've seen it be a player, and some of the winning teams, even when current was really rolling at times, have come from up there. And then other years, it's just a good, solid place for anglers who aren't comfortable on the ledges to lock through, go fish their strengths up there shallow, around shallow grass, docks, whatever it might be, and catch 12, 14 pounds. Not going to contend to win the tournament, but come out, have a good time, and have fun. What do you think Wilson looks like this go-around? Is it something that can play to win, or will it follow trends of years past where it's a good place to go catch fish and get lots of bites, but at the end of the day, the winning bags are going to come from down on Pickwick?
Wilson's always a player. I mean, it's part of the Tennessee River. There's always a winning bag there. But this time of year and with the current that we're going to have, Wilson could definitely be a player with those big smallmouth and even the big largemouth up shallow around docks and things like that. It's always a player, and I imagine it will be this time too.
Let's talk about baits and game plan when you go out there to fish. John Mark, there's obviously staples, right? Big baits, swim baits, crank baits, you name it. We see other things on and off throughout the years where anglers go opposite of that, and it really pays off well with finesse presentations and different things that, as fishing has evolved with live scope and you name it, people are catching fish in a variety of different ways, in ways that generations before us probably never imagined you could do out in 20 feet of water. But talk a little bit about what baits you might have tied on and techniques and tactics that are going to work to trigger these fish to bite.
Fishing the Tennessee River, I always have liked to, throw the big baits, the big gizzard imitators, your scroungers, hair jigs, big crankbaits, things like that. But now with the way pressure has gotten on Pickwick and lakes on the Tennessee River, you've had to change the way you fish and adapt. And I'm sure that we're going to see the Demickey rig be a big player. Everybody knows about it now. Everybody's throwing it out deep on the whole Tennessee River, and I think the Demickey rigs definitely, you're going to see a lot of fish caught on that, especially on pressured schools or beat up schools that are already, had their heads beat in. I think the Demickey rig's going to be probably the biggest player, just like in every other tournament here recently.
Yeah, when you go out there, TJ, let's talk a little bit about your approach. Ledge fishing, offshore fishing, you hear, some of the thought in the past has been have a bunch of baits tied on. If you don't get a bite within 4 or 5 casts on something, switch it up, try a different one, keep moving and rotate until you're able to get those fish to bite. But in other scenarios, you'll see anglers that lock the exact same thing in their hand all day, whether it's a big swim bait or finesse presentation. They know that they're going to get the bites that they need to win over the course of 8 hours by throwing that one thing, and maybe that's the only rod they have on the deck. What is your game plan out here, knowing what takes place on the Tennessee River? Are you running through a whole list of baits until one finally locks on to a bass, finally hits one of those and you land a keeper? Or are you going to dedicate yourself to that one thing that you find in practice, and for the tournament, that's all you're going to throw?
Well, more than likely, from like how John Mark was saying, it's a lot more pressured out there than it has been in the past several years. And I believe you're going to have a lot of different things tied on and be really diverse out there, from throwing big baits and fishing the nests on them. It's just going to take a lot of different things to figure out what exactly they want and how they're feeding.
Yeah, that's a fun part. 2-day tournament. We're talking about the conditions and how things are setting up, whether that's weather, current, you name it. It's going to impact how these fish are, and from day to day it could change, or it could be steady for the whole week of the tournament, and whatever you find on Sunday still working on Friday, because it's that time of year where these fish are locked in out deep and they're doing what they're going to do, and they're going to be there for a long while, and it's something that you can run the lake multiple spots, or things change. Gates stop pushing water, maybe they push more water, these fish get more active, or they could back off. It's always really fun to see play out there at Pickwick Lake and Wilson when we come for the Collegiate Bass Fishing Championship presented by Bass Pro Shops. Let's run through predictions real quick. Lake, for 2 days, what are you thinking? In years past, I believe most of the winners had at least 20 pounds both days, with some of them getting closer to 24 pounds. For one of their better limits over the course of competition. That would put you around 40 to 45, 46 pounds for 2 days. Are you thinking that we do that again this year? Is it less? Is it more? Tell me what you think.
Oh, these guys are the best in the world. They're always going to catch them. My prediction is somewhere in that 42 to 43 pound range for 2 days. When you get this group of guys on the Tennessee River, they're gonna smash them every time.
John Mark, same question. What do you think it's going to win? And then two-part here. Do you think that there's going to be a disparity between first and second, or are we going to see maybe a half a dozen to 10 teams that really have a legitimate shot and are within just a few pounds of the lead when it's all said and done?
I agree with what Lake said. These guys are the best in the field. They're going to catch them. A lot of good Tennessee River guys are going to be fishing. I think it's going to take anywhere from, 44 to 46 pounds for 2 days. I think somebody's definitely going to bust a big bag the first day. I know 24 to 26, if they're pulling currents, definitely going to be doable the first day, and then they'll probably be close to being followed up again, But I definitely think that first place, probably first through fifth, will have some decent bags, but I could see the weights dropping off a little bit after that. But I think definitely your top couple people is going to have some big stringers.
TJ, we'll let you answer the same question. They're thinking kind of along the same lines. That 42-pound range is kind of the sweet spot, and if you can do better, you might knock it out of the park. Do you agree with them on their analysis and projection there?
Yeah, I agree with what they both said. I believe it's going to take around that 42 to 45 pounds for 2 days, and I also believe that the weights are going to be, the top 10 weights will be pretty close, and anyone that's in the top 10 will have a chance at winning it.
We're talking with John Mark Berry, TJ Edwards, and Lake Norsworthy, members of the 19th ranked Blue Mountain Christian University bass fishing team. We'll be competing there at Pickwick Lake in Florence, Alabama, as we've been talking about, for the Collegiate Bass Fishing Championship presented by Bass Pro Shops. Blue Mountain Christian, a team that is regularly inside the top 25 for that Bass Pro Shops School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. Lake, will start with the season so far, as this is going to be the final ACA event to count towards that 23-24 School of the Year race and those national rankings, as this championship will be triple points. Let's talk so far about everything that's taken place up until this point. How has the season gone for you guys? And just kind of give us a little bit of analysis of the past 11 months.
It's been going great. I mean, fishing with these guys on this team, it's always fun, even if you don't catch them or not. But we always have somebody that's going to catch them anywhere we go. We may have one tournament slip up, but for the most part, somebody on our team is going to catch them, and it's really nice to see. It keeps us up there in School of the Year and gets us in this national championship.
John Mark, similar question here for yourself and the team. Right now, sitting in 19th, triple points, a lot of room to move up in the standings. To where we're at right now with just a couple weeks left, are you happy, satisfied, maybe a little disappointed in how it's turned out? Kind of judge the season so far on how the team has performed and where you're at in these national standings.
We've had a decent year, but I think a lot of us are kind of unsatisfied because we've been known to be in the top 10 or even 5 before, and we're rarely outside that top 10. But we've had a couple of tournaments we slipped this year, but we've had the ball, rolling again. Lakes had a good tournament here recently at Kentucky Lake, and we got the ball back rolling where we want to, and we've had a lot of good tournaments here lately, trying to salvage some points and get back up there. And we're all looking at this tournament at Pickwick, with a chip on our shoulder to get back in that top 10 or 15, whatever it may be. But I think we're looking forward to this Pickwick tournament and getting some more points, especially it being triple points, and move on up there before it's all said and done.
Yeah, just taking a look here real quick. So we're recording this the week before the championship. We'll have a points update out before the tournament starts. Currently, you guys are roughly 4,000 points separate 19th where you are presently and 13th. So a good tournament at championship week, chance for teams to earn close to 7,000 points at the Collegiate Bass Fishing Championship presented by Bass Pro Shops, depending on how well all three of your teams do. So a lot of room for upward mobility, not a lot of distance separating you guys and the 5-6 teams in front of you. So to get inside that top 15, knocking on the door of the top 10, not out of the question. TJ, what's got to happen for y'all to maximize those points and be able to make the big move up that John Mark's hoping that y'all can?
For us to be able to make a big move and move up in the points, we're going to have two teams in the top 20 to be able to secure some good points.
Yeah, that's the formula for success through this whole deal. You look at the teams that are up high, and they've got multiple wins. They've got multiple top fives. They've got teams finishing first and second, fifth and sixth, two in the top 10 at just about everywhere the points qualifying events take place. Here at the Collegiate Bass Fishing Championship presented by Bass Pro Shops, triple points opportunity. So to have three teams inside that top 20 really opens up the door for these schools to make up a lot of ground. Lake, real quick, last questions coming your way. Final event for the ACAs we've talked about to count towards that 23-24 race for the Bass Pro Shops School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. Following our tournament, just one more there in early June, and then the standings will be finalized for this year, and we'll move on to the next season. What would you like to see the team do? Where do you want to finish when everything is said and done for this 23-24 race?
We always are looking for a top 10. I don't know if it's going to be possible, but we're going to try. I mean, we're going to give it our all. We're going to try to get everybody we have going to this tournament in the top 10. I mean, we're going to try to catch them this tournament.
Well, be on the lookout for them. These anglers from Blue Mountain Christian University going to be competing in the Collegiate Bass Fishing Championship presented by Bass Pro Shops at Pickwick Lake, May 23rd and 24th, here in just a couple days. Guys, thanks for taking the time to join us here. Best of luck in the event. Safe travels over, and we look forward to seeing you there on site in Florence.
Welcome to Minnow King. How can I help you?
Everything looks good. I'm friggin' starving, man. Been spawning all morning.
Ugh, TMI, bro. What do you want?
I'll take a Crush City freeloader and gizzard shad.
Anything to drink.
Water.
Pull ahead, please. Welcome to Minnow King.
We're gonna have what he's had. Yeah, throw me in a Ned BLT, too.
Pull ahead, please.
Calm down, quit feeding him so much.
Hey, man, I'm trying to, man. If you
overfeed him, he's gonna hide under a log.